Superwoman issue 8, Philomena is writing. I think this is his last issue writing. It's either this one or the next one. That's his last one.
I think he's doing the next one, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh, that letter will be so happy.
He's like, oh, finally, my.
I don't know. Depends if they get paid by the letter or not.
Oh yeah, that's true. It'll be like, my wrist is so sore. Oh my god, so many words. Yeah. And also on art we have Jack Herbert doing the art. I actually want to be positive about this one for the most part. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still overly worded. He still needs to calm down on how much he's writing in it. But I do think this one was much easier to follow than the last 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think
it's a return to form to the first 2 issues.
Yeah, the layouts were much...
Before the Ultra Woman stuff.
Yeah. Layouts were much easier to go by. And it was also... It felt like more of a personal issue because it was Lana. She's actually in this coma that she's been in Action Comics, since whatever. And it also turned into more of a Reborn tie-in than I thought it was going to. Because obviously the next one's the Aftermath issue. But this one... Like, Lana's in her head as Superwoman and she's talking to Ghost Lois. And then Ghost New 52 Superman shows up. And this kind of ties into the idea that we now know that Fake Clark's not anything to do with him. The Ghost New Superman... not New Superman, sorry. Too many Superman characters. I'm mixing them up, man.
New 52 Superman.
Yeah. Newperman.
Collar Superman. Yeah.
Yeah. Newperman and New Lois. Right? Oh, even this
it's not as catchy for her.
It's not. So right, Lois and 52 Clark are in her head, and she's talking to him. And I actually kind of liked what she brings up. She's like... Because... Basically, they're in this idea, at least what I'm getting from it, is that Lana, in this coma that's been caused by these timeline shenanigans that's going on with Superman right now, is kind of realising that reality is being... This is why I think that we're going to get some sort of merger in Reborn, because it feels like it's happening, and Lana's kind of aware of it right now, because of what's going on. And she talks about, why is reality so obsessed with you two? Why is everything rewriting to fix you guys? And, I'm not going to remember this when I wake up, because things will have changed, and she's basically talking about retcons, and she's why are you guys so important?
It's a very meta issue.
It's a very meta issue, but I liked it because it was kind of this, from another character's perspective, why are you guys the focus? I mean, and I love you guys, clearly, she's Lana, she loves Superman, and she loves Lois, but, why do you guys, why does everything revolve around you? And at one point, she even stops and goes, it all makes sense now, it's not about you, it's about your son. Yeah. Or so one of them says it's about our son, and I'm like, all right, so John's important, and okay, this is getting interesting. And I can't really make sense of a lot of it, but it flowed better, and it all felt like it was tying into Reborn. It didn't feel like confusing for the sake of confusing. It felt like here's some seeds and some cryptic clues that are going to play into Reborn, and it
sounds to me like it'll read better once you know the end of
probably.
Reborn, and once you look at it, it'll kind of go, okay, I get it. Let's see what it is, and it might work better then.
Probably, but it was definitely some cool teases though, because when they mentioned the son, I'm like, because John's not been mentioned in the Superwoman before, and
no,
and I don't know, and it was the way they phrased it as well. It's about her son. I'm like, wait, are they actually meaning John, or is that meant to be a cryptic? Double, we're expected to think they mean John, but it means something else.
It's interesting. Do they say your son in reference to Lois and Clark, or because it's not their son, is it?
No, they say my son.
They say my son.
Very important to note that,
because I didn't read this clearly.
What I got from it is Lois and Clark and the New 52 are still Lois and Clark.
Yes,
right? They still share a lot of the same stuff. They're just not the ones from the original universe. Whatever happened, it's almost as if the universe put them in place because it wouldn't work out without them.
Matt, I'm going to get kind of... Now, you've read more of this 90s stuff, so you can maybe correct me as I go here if I'm completely off base. But in this issue, Lana, as Superwoman, mentions that she has red energy, and she's going to give it back, because they say we need to take it back from you at the end. So that might mean she's losing her powers. I don't know if it will necessarily. She might end up with powers anyway, but she's given this red energy back. And we've commented in the past how her outfit is very red Superman. When he was red and blue. Right. Electric blue and the red.
Does that make Lois in this Superwoman? Does that make her blue?
Well, no, that's not what I'm thinking.
No.
I'm thinking.
No, because
I'm thinking
Lois is more traditional Superwoman style.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm thinking, Matt. Though I'm thinking New 52 Clark and Lois are the red versions. If you're thinking of them being split, I'm thinking all of the versions in New 52 were the red versions of Superman and Lois and stuff. And the merger that brings them back is bringing that back together.
Right.
and that's why she has to give up the red energy in this issue.
Yep.
What's
She recharges. She
So-
recharges Lois.
yeah.
So you see Lois as Superwoman again.
So if they're the red energy, that would make our current Clark and Lois
Yeah.
that we have. That would make them the blue
Yeah.
because you have to have the two halves.
If I'm rating what I'm thinking, yeah, that would be what I'm suggesting.
Yep.
It's weird for them
I
to
always
be
thought of
kind
them.
of bringing this back now.
I think that's more figurative than it is what they're actually doing. I think they're just playing up on the splitting of them.
Yeah.
And the old school Silver Age or Golden
Yeah.
Age.
I
The
don't think
story
they're
of
going to.
Superman Red and Superman Blue.
I don't think they're going to specifically go into all this and talk about it in the books. I think it's just there for if you're familiar with that stuff,
Yeah.
it adds an extra layer to it, and you can kind of apply it to it, and it kind of works. And
Well, and that also goes with Tomasi talking about the sand story, about the fake Superman that was made out of sand from the Silver Age. It was a story that he picked up on, and imposters and stuff. So I think there's just a lot of shout outs to older stuff going on. And now that Mixie was revealed, it makes a lot of sense that it's the stuff it would be pulling from different timelines would be chaotic. Because that's what he does.
yeah, and this issue I think it also just feels a lot more personal. Like I really get into Lana's like mindset in this one and her worries about everything. And at the end, when she like thinks, "Oh, maybe this is the last time I'll get to fly," and this is all in her head still, by the way. Like all this takes place in her head. Other than a couple of scenes, but it's still outside her coma.
Trying to figure out why she's in the coma because it's not making any sense.
Yeah, because we also see Luther puts Lena back in like a prison cell and locks her away. That's going to come back to bite him.
He doesn't learn. The dude never learns. You can't hide Lena Luthor and expect to come out okay.
No, cannot. It's going to come back and bite him. But the whole thing with Lana is just if I really felt it, and at the end when she's like, "All right, if this is my last chance to fly, I want to do it with you." So we get that big double page spread of the two of them flying in costume, and it's all in her head, but it's but she thinks she wakes up, and it's dream within a dream. It's Inception levels here. She thinks she wakes up, and she's with Steele, and she's with Natasha, and she's with Tracy 33, 31?
Tracy 13.
13. Yeah, okay.
You're right the first time.
All right. Okay. Cool. I second guess myself. Okay. But like she wakes up and there's like something happens in Metropolis and they're like, "Oh, we need to go," and she's shirt open and it's the time to be heroes. And you're like, "Oh, she still has powers," and then it double bluffs you and it's like, "Oh no, she's still in the suit in Action Comics where she was," and you get the sense that whatever happens with Reborn, it'll sort of affect how she wakes up and.
I'm wondering if maybe she doesn't have powers and we get a complete obviously this was the book that completely swerved us in the first issue. So I'm wondering with the new writer coming on, maybe it's going to swerve again and be a completely different book.
But then what do you do if it's not about Lana?
It can't be Lois because Lois is going to be
purging. It can't be Lois.
Yeah.
And she's going to be back at the Daily Planet.
So I think
and they're going to be out of Hamilton County and back in Metropolis. So
I think it will be Lana, and I think she will, for some reason, still have powers. I could be wrong. Maybe it'll be someone else. Even if it's not, though, she has to still be a main character. She still has to be a driving force of the book.
I'm hoping it goes to an ensemble and we get more of Natasha and Tracy 13.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's like a super women book.
As much as the start in this issue have been really good from Jimenez, I'm really glad that someone else is going to be writing, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they handle it and have the supporting cast and stuff.
He told the story he wanted to, and it started off really well. Took a big dip in the middle, and now is back to being.
Yeah, see, I'm annoyed because I really like the sound of this issue, especially as the first issue was my favorite, not for the twist, but for the relationship between Lana and Lois. I really like seeing how that played, and this kind of sounds like it'd be, like back to that I'd enjoy reading, but I couldn't bring myself to get through the last one. I got about halfway through and gave up.
I don't think you need to be honest.
To
read this, basically all you need to know is they beat Lena, they won,
right,
and from using her powers so much, she's went into like a coma. She's like dying, and you read the action issue, so
yeah. I know that where that was.
Yeah, that's enough of a lead-in for it, to be honest. So
I may go back and check it out.
But no, it was definitely because I was kind of dreading reading it because of how muddy and like overstuffed the last couple were and how they were complicated to read. Whereas this one, It flowed relatively well. It was still a bit too wordy. Don't get me wrong. There was still too much words, but it.
I went to read the last one earlier this week, but before this one came out, obviously.
Look, I'm going to be negative again.
No, I'd forgotten what you guys had said about it. Like, because it wasn't like I'd intentionally not read it last issue. It was I just didn't get time. And so many words, like so many words.
Yep.
Still a decent amount of words, not as much as before though. And I think the big thing was he wasn't doing this weird thing where he was mixing scenes together and it was getting hard to follow and whatnot. It flowed well.
I wonder if that's to do with maybe the fact that he wasn't the artist on this one as well, whereas on the previous ones he has been.
He hasn't been the artist on all of them.
Not all of them, but a lot of them. So I'm wondering if this one where it's like, well, maybe I should just simplify it a bit so the artist has an easier job.
Maybe.
Because before it's like it's his vision, he knew what he was doing.
He also did the art in the best issue, which was issue 1. So.
Yeah. I don't know then. I'm trying to rationalize it, but
and I think the worst issue was the 5th one, which I don't know if he did that one or the 6th one, whatever. The second last one of the arc, like not the last one, but the one before.
Right.
But yeah, so there you go. So Superwoman marked improvement, but I'm looking forward to the Reborn issue, and I'm looking forward to a new writer to see how they make it a bit more accessible.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what this new writer does to make it their own, but still be the same series ultimately.
Yeah, I like these characters enough though that I'm really hoping it picks up and I can stick with it.